As a fellow traveler, I find myself often asking the question, why is a country the way that it is? I find this question to be crucial for any person considering a visit. From ancient peoples to modern democracy, we'll explore the events, cultures, and conflicts that have shaped this diverse nation called South Africa. Prepare to discover a land where spirituality, commerce, and struggle have intertwined to create a unique and complex society. So come and join us on a brief history of this interesting country. Our story begins over 100,000 years ago with the San and Khoikhoi peoples. These early inhabitants lived in harmony with the land, their spirituality deeply connected to nature. Rock art found in places like the Drakensberg Mountains still whispers their ancient beliefs to us today. As we move forward in time, around 500 CE, Bantu-speaking peoples migrated southward, bringing with them new technologies and religious practices. They introduced ancestor worship and the concept of a supreme creator god, beliefs that would influence South African spirituality for centuries to come. In 1488, Portuguese explorer Bartolomeu Dias rounded the Cape of Good Hope, opening the door to European influence. But it was in 1652 that history took a dramatic turn. Jan van Riebeeck established a Dutch settlement at the Cape, forever changing the course of South African history. The Dutch brought Christianity, which would become a dominant force in South African religious life. They also introduced a new economic system, with the Dutch guilder becoming the first European currency used in the region. The impact on local populations was profound. The Dutch imported enslaved people from other parts of Africa and Asia, bringing Islam to South African shores. They also brought spices that would transform local cuisine. Nutmeg, cinnamon, and pepper became prized commodities. However, this era also saw the beginning of conflicts that would scar the nation. The expansion of Dutch settlements led to the displacement of indigenous peoples, marking the start of a long history of land dispossession and cultural erasure. As the 19th century dawned, control of the Cape passed to the British. They abolished slavery in 1834 and introduced the pound sterling as currency. This period saw the rise of Christian missionaries who played a complex role, both spreading education and often undermining traditional African beliefs. Dissatisfied with British rule, thousands of Dutch-speaking Boers embarked on the Great Trek inland from 1836 to 1840. This migration led to conflicts with African kingdoms and the establishment of Boer republics, each with their own currency. The discovery of diamonds near Kimberley in 1867 and gold on the Witwatersrand in 1886 transformed South Africa. These finds attracted fortune seekers from around the world and intensified conflicts over land and resources. The late 19th century saw a series of devastating conflicts. The Anglo-Zulu War of 1879 resulted in the defeat of the powerful Zulu kingdom. The First Boer War from 1880 to 1881 and the more brutal Second Boer War from 1899 to 1902 pitted Boer against Britain. These wars had a catastrophic impact on civilian populations. The British use of concentration camps during the Second Boer War resulted in the deaths of thousands of Boer women and children, as well as many African people. This tragic episode would leave deep scars in South African society. As South Africa entered the 20th century, its relationships with neighboring territories began to take shape. In 1910, the Union of South Africa was formed, including the former Boer republics and British colonies. This new entity would play a significant role in regional politics. During World War I, South Africa occupied German Southwest Africa, now Namibia, beginning a long and complex relationship. South Africa administered Namibia until its independence in 1990. A period marked by both economic ties and political tension. The discovery of diamonds in 1908 in what was then Bechuanaland, now Botswana, brought increased South African economic interest in the region. However, Botswana managed to maintain its independence, becoming a British protectorate rather than being incorporated into South Africa. The rise of apartheid in 1948 had profound implications for South Africa's relationships with its neighbours. As international criticism of apartheid grew, many neighbouring countries became havens for South African political exiles and bases for liberation movements. Regional conflicts and cooperation. The 1960s and 70s saw South Africa increasingly isolated internationally, but it remained economically dominant in the region. The country's relationship with Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, was particularly complex. While officially complying with international sanctions against the white minority government in Rhodesia, South Africa provided covert support. Mozambique's independence in 1975 led to tensions with South Africa. The apartheid government supported rebel groups in Mozambique, fearing that an independent socialist Mozambique could threaten its interests. During this period, South Africa also intervened militarily in Angola, supporting UNITA rebels against the MPLA government, which was backed by Cuba and the Soviet Union. This conflict had far-reaching consequences for regional stability. Despite these conflicts, economic ties remained strong. South Africa's more developed infrastructure and economy made it a crucial trade partner for its neighbours. The Southern African Customs Union, one of the world's oldest customs unions, facilitated trade between South Africa, Botswana, Lesotho, Namibia and Swaziland, now Eswatini. Post-apartheid regional relations. The end of apartheid in 1994 marked a new era in South Africa's regional relationships. Under Nelson Mandela's leadership, South Africa shifted from being a pariah state to a respected regional power. South Africa played a key role in regional peacekeeping efforts, including interventions in Lesotho and the Democratic Republic of Congo. It also became an important mediator in conflicts across the continent from Burundi to Côte d'Ivoire. Economically, post-apartheid South Africa became increasingly integrated with its neighbours. It joined the Southern African Development Community, or SADC, in 1994, promoting regional economic cooperation and integration. South Africa in the 21st century continental leader. Today, South Africa plays a crucial role in African affairs. First, as an economic powerhouse. Despite recent challenges, South Africa remains one of Africa's largest economies. It's a major exporter of minerals and agricultural products, and its well-developed financial services sector plays a crucial role in facilitating investment across the continent. Second, as a gateway to Africa. Many multinational corporations use South Africa as a base for their African operations, thanks to its relatively well-developed infrastructure and business-friendly environment. Third, as a regional integrator. Through organizations like SADC and the African Union, South Africa promotes regional integration and cooperation. Fourth, with diplomatic influence. As the only African member of the G20 and BRICS, South Africa often represents African interests on the global stage. And finally, in peacekeeping and conflict resolution, South Africa continues to play an important role in peacekeeping missions and conflict resolution efforts across the continent. Popular travel destinations. South Africa offers a wealth of diverse attractions for travelers. Let's explore some of the must-visit locations, from historically rich sites to areas perfect for relaxation and adventure. Our most recommended cities or areas to visit are Cape Town, Johannesburg, Kruger National Park, the Garden Route, the Drakensberg Mountains, Durban, Stellenbosch, the Blyde River Canyon, Isimangaliso, Wetland Park and the Cradle of Humankind. For more recommendations, we suggest you look at the description of this video. Conclusion. As you travel through South Africa, you'll experience a country that is both uniquely South African and deeply connected to the broader African continent. From the bustling port of Durban, handling goods from across southern Africa, to the corporate headquarters in Johannesburg, making decisions that impact the entire continent, you'll see evidence of South Africa's regional and continental role. South Africa's history is not just its own, but is intertwined with the stories of its neighbors and the continent as a whole. The country's journey from colonialism and apartheid to democracy and regional leadership reflects broader African struggles for independence, development, and unity. Today, as South Africa grapples with domestic challenges like inequality and unemployment, it also faces the task of balancing its national interests with its responsibilities as a continental leader. Its successes and struggles in this endeavor offer insights into the broader challenges and opportunities facing Africa in the 21st century. Your journey through South Africa is an opportunity to understand not just this complex and beautiful country, but to gain insights into the dynamics shaping the future of an entire continent. Enjoy your travels, and may they broaden your perspective on South Africa and its place in Africa and the world.